So 3, 2, 1, bing! It's Sam and Rose and Michael, and it's the BetaSaaSers AutoGraders weekly meeting. And yeah, so I was just saying, yeah, I'm off next week, and so yeah, the next meeting, if we still have them on Fridays, will be 2 weeks today, and hopefully I will be rested and refreshed and be able to get back into the cycle of sending the emails, or possibly setting up some sort of automation so that the emails get sent automatically or something. But yes, I'm now. I mean, before the time change, I had this fairly clear idea in my head of when the meeting happened and who, like, what Rose and Richard's availability was, and now I'm just confused. So, gosh, these time changes. But yeah, so that's the items from me are basically that I'm not around next week. That we've launched the TA training course for the MOOC, because the MOOC is also said to be imminent. 2 new what's the word? Instructor-led or phased release runs starting in the second week in May. Although I'll believe it when I see it, because it's been who knows what's going on. Yeah, and yes, I've just been sort of bamboozled by this, working with the NHS, the National Health Service here in the UK, and this big, project that we're doing with them. I mean, that's a big project. It's big in that there's huge numbers of different stakeholders that I've been interviewing and talking to over the last 2 weeks. It's not big in terms of them giving us a huge budget, because we're not. There's a small budget, but yes, it could lead on to other big things. But yeah, we got the newsletter out, which you saw, Rose, and thank you for your picking up on that broken link, which I sort of pseudo fixed now. But yeah, glad that you were able to get the newsletter.
Yeah, I was excited to get it.
Yeah, we're getting some positive feedback from people who I haven't spoken to for a while. Like, oh, hey, I got the newsletter, and I'm like, yay, got the newsletter. It's good stuff. Yeah, so I think that's my agenda items. Rose, I know you had this ongoing issue with the students getting like full coverage when they didn't have any RSpec tests,
and then not getting coverage when they did.
Right.
I'm still a little puzzled by, well, not a little puzzled, very puzzled by the fact that I've got groups of students who didn't get coverage for various aspects of Homework 5, when it looks like they have good coverage. And in fact, I felt that their tests were better than mine, and I got 100%. So, I'm just, I know. And then, of course, on the other hand, these students who didn't do any RSpec, and by the way, they did go back. I told them, no, I'm afraid you're not going to get 100 unless you do some RSpec. So they went back and they did a nice job.
Yeah. Yes, and I think, I mean, without having looked into it in too much detail, I think the problem is that there's a problem with the grader, that if you have no RSpec test at all, like the way the grader is working is it's kind of like taking your RSpec tests and running them, and then kind of subtracting the coverage. Whereas if you have no RSpec tests, then for some reason it just thinks, right, you haven't got any. There's nothing to miss.
But then there's the other one. The other case where she's saying that they had better RSpecs than her, she thought.
Right.
For some reason.
Well, that's another story.
And I had this. Well, it's on GitHub, and in particular, I don't know if you remember, but that Homework 5 includes what is it? A movie helper file, and I don't think it's really being used anywhere. I assume that Armando put it there just so that students would have to write some coverage tests for it. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Some unit tests that would cover it, and I wrote I wrote my versions. The students wrote theirs, and oddly enough, the students got no coverage for it when it looks like a perfectly good test, and then they can't get like over 90%. They're having trouble. I mean, I think they could probably do some more with the index and the controller. They've got all the code coverage except for a few lines in the index and then that helper, and they can't get over 90% coverage, so they don't get the best grade.
Mm, mm.
And they've got
running...
good cucumber tests. They've got good, they're fine, and
Yeah.
they've got good RSpec tests.
I would
Michael,
suggest,
go on, Michael.
Somebody wanted to debug it, they would need examples.
Yeah, so I pasted the 2 links, Michael, into the group chat there. This is so. I'm just thinking what I should do is add you, Michael, to. I have a feeling that you're not on the. There's a BetaSaaSers list, which I'm just. It's Google Groups. That's what it's on. Which Rose has been posting to this week, and I'm just thinking actually, it would be good to have you on that list, Michael, and then you would be looped in on that generally. Yes, and I noticed also that Richard is here. Hello, Richard.
Yay! Hey, Richard.
Hi, can
Ooh,
you hear me?
Sound good.
We can.
No, I'm not. My picture looks like way better than my real life.
Oh,
Actually,
no.
I actually am down with something, so I'm just here like I can't move, and so I'm just gonna sit and listen.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, we'll just type stuff out if you direct us in a particular way. I'm just Michael. What's your email? Is like MTC 2013 open source. I found it there. Right.
Or you can just say Michael at agileVentures.org.
Right.
Go to the same place.
Right. This is the BetaSaaSers list. Okay. So I've direct added you, and I've told Google that I'm not a robot, and yeah. So there, but both those links there. So I think the one with the prefix MR, Rose, that's one from the students. Is that right? You're muted, Rose.
Sorry. There's a little rattling going on here. I didn't want you guys to hear it.
No worries.
So MR, that's Myrish Rao, and he wrote some RSpec for the Homework 5 helper method. And we tried it many different ways. He put my code in. I put his code in mine. I'm still getting, no matter what I do, I get 100%. No matter what he does, he doesn't get coverage. It's so bizarre. And then the XY, that would be Xinghao and Yixing. And they just did Cucumber and got 100%.
Right. So yeah, basically they have no spec files at all there. And
at all. Yes.
And was this the one? Oh right. No, in fact, so both the what am I doing? But yeah, but both these repos, the YX and the H and the MR, I guess, or do these have? All right, they have specs inside those folders. Are these okay? So YX, this is the one. It has nothing. It ends up
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then here, these guys, they have
in their controllers and their model and their they have they have a bunch of them.
Well, they in here, so they have basically helpers and controllers. There's no model spec here, but
that's odd. I thought they had one. Maybe they took it out. They were doing all kinds of crazy things because
just to try and make it this, that, and the other.
Just to try and make something different. So when we ran it, looked at their index or looked at the brought up the coverage. It's the same line doesn't get covered no matter what you do, and yet I got coverage even when my test I thought was really
basically. And you guys are checking current coverage always on the grader itself, or you're running it locally? You're running like simple.
No, I'm running it. I mean, we did both, but when I saw that they weren't getting,
what's the coverage you're getting? Is there any discrepancy between the coverage, Rose? Is there any discrepancy between the coverage that you get locally and the coverage that you get across the grader?
No, I don't believe so. I'm getting. Oh, really? They can't get above 89%, no matter what they do.
Oh, okay. So independently of whether it's putting it up to the grader or putting it to the like running locally with SimpleCov. Okay, that's interesting.
But your tests are getting 100 locally.
Yeah. I'm mystified. It makes no sense to me. There were a few lines here and there that were slightly different, or a little placement of code that was slightly different in both of them. When I compared, globally, the whole project.
Mhm.
But
doesn't Archive or whatever have like a? I know I've seen before. It might not be Archive, but there's like, I know maybe it's one of those online. Maybe it's like a SaaS thing that shows the file, the lines of the app that are covered by the test. You know what I'm talking about, Sam?
Yeah, I mean,
well,
They're like
the coverage
green.
report we get shows that.
when we use coveralls or what have you, it will show the specific lines. Yeah.
Yeah, and so does SimpleCov. It shows exactly what lines have coverage and what lines don't.
It creates like a coverage folder, doesn't it? And it has HTML in it that you can look at, right? Is that right? Yeah. And so
Maybe
go on.
did you look at that and see if it actually makes sense? What's like what?
Oh
it's
yeah, I mean,
does it show you?
Does
it show you, Rose, the parts of the
That are
code
not
base
covered.
that are not covered?
yes. Well, in particular, there's a line in the helper that is not getting any coverage.
Even though there's a helper test for it.
Yeah, oddly enough, when I put my code in, it still doesn't register.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like it's dead. It's like it's really not seeing it. I don't know. It's so weird.
And now I'm just trying to look for the grader mechanism. So we've got here. So this is the assignment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we've got basically that's not been updated since we. So this is the assignment, and they go through, and presumably no one has any particular trouble adding the director field to movies, and then now it's acceptance and the unit tests, and then this is of course the thing is basically because we haven't really scaffolded them, people have got no idea about this switching from Cucumber to RSpec. But so, and you kind of have to, you grade it by, you have to zip up like portions of the system and then submit that. Right.
And they get exactly the same coverage as when I do it locally.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to think here, like, so if I go to, see, the funny thing is, I thought we not have like a version of this which is like CI, and it's not finding it.
Yeah, I could not find. There were things associated with this. I can't remember what it was, but it's like I thought, shouldn't there be another folder, and I couldn't find it.
We've got only one thing for that. If we look at all the different CI things that we've got. So I think it may still be grading against the BDD TDD cycle CI, which was the previous name for that assignment. So this is the grader itself.
Probably.
Or this will be the spec that it's using. And so, yeah, that's going to be just, so this is the thing, it's like the pass threshold, right? It's expecting like 90% coverage on the models and the controllers and so on. And so that's the specification for the elements. Now here, this doesn't really help us at all, because so the actual process of it running the RSpec and managing this internally, is all in this RAG system, and this is the AutoGrader itself. And so the AutoGrader itself, if I remember, it then has a specific grader that does, well, it's not there, that handles like this RSpec grading, which must be in the lib. And so then we have the different kinds of graders, right? And so we have feature grader, and then there. So that it used to be called Homework 4, and so this is the actual grader that's running, and it's trying to run the RSpec, I guess. See, and it's
what concerns me is that.
Go on.
I mean, let's go back to the fact that when I run the coverage locally, I get the same results.
Yeah.
Which indicates it's not. It's something other than the
You think it's
grader.
Not the grader. I mean, so this is the code here where it's checking the code coverage. And it's here. Look, see, it's actually going and grabbing.
Do you want to see? Do you want to see what it looks like when I look locally at the
totally.
coverage?
Yeah.
Let me share my screen.
And in principle, I should be able to check out this. It's basically this rod and plate. If I check this out and I bundle it and whatever, I should be able to run it.
Yeah, you're going to get the same thing,
coverage
hopefully.
Okay, well, let's.
And if you don't, it would be very interesting to know why.
Yeah. Cool.
But
I'm
right here.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know if
showing
you can see.
Yeah, show us the thing there.
And
so
then
you're getting.
Here's the helper.
Yeah.
Here's the helper, and here's the one that isn't and it's this line.
Okay. So
and yet when I look at their code, it certainly looks like they're testing it. I have a test that I thought was really terrible, and to be honest, I mean, I just threw it in there quick, and it failed, and then I wrote the code and it passed, and I'm like, wow, that's weird.
Right. Indeed.
But you know, theirs is not, even when they substitute my code or add my code to theirs. It just seems very odd.
Yeah, well, what's odd about that? Sorry, if you go back to the coverage report, there is it showing that there's a green line there, where it shows line 3, is that the method is being called, but then line 4 is red.
It's and it's showing that this line
is not being executed.
Isn't being exercised.
Allegedly. I mean, the only way that I could pseudo-sensibly interpret that was to say that it was checking that both forks of that maybe what it's doing is the ternary is and so are they testing both paths? I think that's probably not going to be the answer, but they are testing both paths.
That's what's so odd about it.
Right. So let me see the HW.
Well, I see in the MR repository. I guess is that run with the oddness? Because they're running something .odd ?
Okay, so that is the that's the method that's invoked in that line.
Well, I don't know that it is, because if they're asking
that's not
odd on odd number, that they're calling the underlying Ruby method, not the helper method. So
if you actually call oddness itself, you still get that coverage.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, we did both, you know.
But yeah, well, let's having seen that, why don't we do that on my system? I mean, I've got here rotten potatoes. This is the thing out of the box. I guess in order to do the simple carbs, I have to add this into my Rails helper spec, right? Oh gosh, all the other. I hate this, the way, for some reason I have to run or actually, I don't know why. Anyway, so this is, we're going to go into spec. Where's spec? We don't have any specs. Is there not a spec folder out of the box? Do we have to do rspec init in this? That's interesting. Am I in the right place?
Yeah, you have to install rspec. It's kind of really annoying. They really are. I mean, a lot of students got confused because they had to go back to the book, which isn't that's not a bad thing, but they had to kind of go through everything and see how to do it.
Yeah, and I think for some reason my browser mocking up. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So which jammer are we using in this thing to generate the coverage reports?
I assume we're using simple carb. I'm just going to follow these as Rails. I guess, actually, what I should be, I guess, to replicate the thing here is, having gone in here, I should be doing, I did this already, the sequence of the, I assume it's the simple carb gem, Michael, from what's written on here.
Right, the gem file has no particular version indicated.
Oops. What's this doing? Great. And then, okay, now it's doing install capybara. It sounds like it's, I've got the training wheels installed. I've got a problem here already. Activate bin path for gem module. My computer is as exhausted as I am. No, so the migration completed. And then is that control A bin? I mean, so there's also weird things here, like this is my shortcut for bundle exec. God, I can't undefined methods activate bin path for gem module. Yeah, no idea what there. I wonder if I can just still go ahead and actually.
That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is one of the things that they're, more recent. Like this is still really old. There's like which Rails executable you're using. Here it's kind of
You're
framework
still
for this
using
assignment.
Rails 4 here, right?
Well, I mean, there's a question here of like which execute like
do Rails-V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is it really thinking that long? I'm
What
just
is
getting
going
lag.
on?
Did it
This is
print,
odd.
Sam?
Everything seems to have stopped, including Sam.
what
I think he's having some internet issue.
Yeah, must be. I believe we used Rails 4.2.6 for this. Yep, Rails 4.2.6. Yeah, so you were saying about that in the helper. I don't know if you see the stuff that was commented out.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, but we tried it a number of ways. Some of the attempts, I think they just erased in disgust. But these last two at least remain here. One is commented out. One was an attempt to directly get to that line, but you're basically you're invoking something on the parameter, and it was the nature of the parameter is such that it sort of makes it hard to know how to set it properly. So I mean, we're trying different things.
Right.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's definitely having some issues. So Michael, do you have off next week?
No. Nope.
Yeah, I do. We have our spring break. Although I'm going to be spending the week with the graduate students, trying to get them up to speed. I've never seen such a train wreck in my life.
Why is that?
For some reason, the grad students who started in the fall are almost uniformly terrible. And
is it always this? Is it just this year? Or?
is it? Yeah, it's very odd. I mean, we sometimes have problems here and there, but not like so many. And we're trying to figure out why that is. What's gone awry. So it's just been challenging, to say the least. The undergrads are doing great for the most part, but he's not even responding on Slack.
No, you might have to reboot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, in which case we'll probably get another URL.
Well, he can just read. Well, it's kind of interesting because it says we're still live even though he's left and he was
Yeah.
the host.
Yeah, it is interesting from that standpoint. But I'm guessing that if he has to reboot, he's going to lose this. Maybe not.
No, I mean the URL is going to be still in the Slack. He can just.
Oh, he's running out of memory.
To join it. Oh. It's probably because he leaves his computer on for like months at a time.
Yeah, I'm sometimes guilty of that too.